He slept in his car outside the hospital, holding on to the last bit of hope for his sick daughter. But when a kind-hearted night shift nurse offers him a blanket, he has no idea she's hiding a secret that could change everything. She's not just a nurse, she's a billionaire heiress, living a life far removed from the one he's fighting to survive. As their lives begin to intertwine, she struggles to keep her identity hidden, but the weight of her truth becomes impossible to ignore. What happens when the man she's come to care for finds out who she really is? Will it tear them apart or give them a chance at something neither expected? What is she willing to sacrifice to help him, and can he ever forgive the lie? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The cold glass pressed against Ethan's temple, offering little relief from the pounding headache that had taken root hours ago. His breath fogged the driver's side window in small, rhythmic bursts. Through the mist, he watched the hospital's fourth-floor windows, Lily's floor, where harsh fluorescent lights cut through the darkness like beacons of hope and despair rolled into one. His phone buzzed. 2:47 a.m. The coffee cup in his hand had turned into a prop, something to hold on to when his fingers needed to grip something real. The bitter dregs at the bottom had congealed into a film that matched the taste in his mouth. He'd already done the math, 17 more hours until his next paycheck, $43 left in checking, and Lily's prescription copay due tomorrow. Should have taken that overtime last week, he muttered, though he knew he'd made the right choice. Lily had needed him that day. She always needed him. The parking lot stretched empty except for a few scattered cars belonging to night shift workers. Each one probably had its own story, but none quite like his. Living out of a 10-year-old sedan wasn't part of the plan when he'd married Sarah. Nothing about this was part of the plan. Inside the hospital, Sam pulled her sandy blonde hair back into a fresh ponytail, securing it with the elastic band she kept around her wrist. The break room smelled of reheated leftovers and industrial coffee, a combination she'd grown immune to after 3 years of night shifts. "Taking your 15?" Marcus asked from behind his magazine. "Just 5. Want to check on the kids in 4B. Marcus lowered his reading material. "The Donovan girl? Her dad's been out in that car for 3 nights straight. Security mentioned it." Sam's hands paused on her coffee mug. 3 nights? At least. Parks in the same spot every time. Blue sedan with the cracked bumper. She'd noticed the car before, but hadn't connected it to the little girl with the bright smile and tired eyes. Most parents stayed in the family lounge or went home to rest. This was different. "He can't afford a hotel," Marcus continued, returning to his magazine. "Heard him on the phone yesterday, juggling shifts. Man works himself to death." Sam set down her untouched coffee. The ceramic clicked against the counter louder than she intended. Outside, Ethan's eyes had drifted shut despite his best efforts. In that space between sleep and waking, he saw Sarah's face, not sick and hollow like those final weeks, but vibrant, laughing at something Lily had said about dinosaurs living in their backyard. The memory dissolved as his phone vibrated again. A text from his boss at the garage. "Need you in at 6 a.m., Peterson called out. 3 hours. He could grab 3 hours of sleep if he left now, drove home, showered, and came straight back. But home meant 25 minutes away. 25 minutes from Lily. His fingers moved across the screen. "I'll be there." The hospital's automatic doors whispered open, releasing a gust of antiseptic air into the night. Sam stepped out, her scrubs rustling in the breeze. She didn't head for the employee parking on the other side. Instead, her white sneakers carried her toward the blue sedan. Ethan noticed the movement in his peripheral vision. His hand instinctively went to the ignition, ready to move if security had finally decided he'd overstayed his welcome. But it wasn't security. The nurse approached with purpose but not urgency, the walk of someone who'd learned to move efficiently without causing alarm. Through his exhaustion, Ethan noticed she was younger than most of the staff, maybe early 30s, with eyes that seemed to take in more than they should. Sam stopped a respectful distance from his window. She held a steaming cup of coffee in one hand and what looked like a wrapped sandwich in the other. Ethan rolled down the window manually. The electric motor had died last winter. "Mr. Donovan?" He nodded, unsure what violation he'd committed. "Thought you might need this." She extended the coffee. "It's fresh. From the staff pot, not the vending machine stuff." Ethan stared at the offering. Pride wrestled with exhaustion. "I'm fine, thanks." "No, you're not." Her voice carried no judgment, just fact. "Your daughter talks about you constantly, how you fix cars and know all the names of the constellations. She's proud of you." The words hit harder than she probably intended. Ethan's throat tightened. "She's also worried," Sam continued. "Asked me yesterday if sleeping in cars was comfortable because she might need to learn how." The sandwich and coffee suddenly weighed nothing as Ethan accepted them. His hands shook. Slightly fatigue or emotion, he couldn't tell. She shouldn't worry about that stuff. Kids are perceptive, especially kids who've been through what Lily has. A silence settled between them, not uncomfortable but full of understanding. Sam glanced back at the hospital, then at the man who looked like he'd aged a decade in the past year. "There's a family lounge on the second floor, has a couch that's actually decent. Security won't bother you there. I need to stay close to my car, work in the morning." The garage on Maple? Ethan's surprise must have shown. "Lily mentions everything. Says you can fix anything that's broken." "Not everything." The soft knock on the passenger window made Ethan's heart skip. He'd been staring at nothing, lost in the space between consciousness and sleep. Through the glass, a figure stood wrapped in a faded navy coat that had seen better winters. The same nurse from moments ago. Sam had circled back around. She made a gentle rolling motion with her hand. The passenger window stuck halfway down, fighting against years of rust and neglect. "Long night?" Her smile carried the exhaustion of someone 5 hours into a 12-hour shift, but genuine warmth flickered beneath it. Ethan hesitated, caught between his automatic response and the truth. "I don't mind." The words came out rougher than intended. He cleared his throat. "Just don't want to be too far from her." Sam nodded like she understood completely. Without asking permission, she leaned against the car's frame, not quite sitting on the curb but settling in for more than a passing conversation. "I'm Sam, by the way. I've been taking care of Lily during the night shifts." "Ethan." He shifted the sandwich she'd given him earlier, still untouched in its wrapper. "She mentioned me? Only every 5 minutes." Sam's expression softened. "She's special, your daughter. Keeps asking if I've seen the Big Dipper from the hospital roof." A ghost of a smile crossed Ethan's face. "I taught her that one last summer," before the word cancer lodged in his throat like broken glass. "She remembers everything you teach her." Yesterday she explained how carburetors work to the entire nursing staff. She wasn't even close to right. "Doesn't matter. The way she talks about you fixing things, making broken stuff work again, you're her hero." Ethan stared at his hands, still stained with motor oil despite 3 washes. "Heroes don't let their kids get sick." "That's not how it works." "Then how does it work?" The question erupted before he could stop it. Weeks of suppressed frustration bleeding through. "I work 16-hour days, sometimes 18. I've sold everything worth selling. The house is mortgaged twice over. And it's still not enough. The treatments, the specialists, the medications insurance won't cover." His voice cracked. He pressed his palms against his eyes, determined not to break down in front of a stranger. Sam stayed quiet, letting him have the moment. When he finally looked up, she wasn't wearing the expression of pity he'd grown to hate. Just understanding. "My dad worked construction," she said. "Broke his back when I was 12. Literally. 3 vertebrae. Couldn't work for 2 years. She pulled the coat tighter around herself. "I remember him sleeping in hospital waiting rooms, pretending he wasn't in pain so we wouldn't worry. Remember thinking if I could just fix him somehow, everything would be okay." "Could you?" "No. But I learned something. The fixing isn't always the point. Sometimes just refusing to give up is enough. Sometimes That's everything. Ethan absorbed this, watching his breath fog in the cold air. I keep thinking about what happens if... He couldn't finish. Don't. Sam's voice remained gentle but firm. That's tomorrow's problem. Tonight, Lily is stable. Her numbers looked good when I checked an hour ago. Tonight, you're here, and that matters more than you know. I should be in there with her. She's sleeping peacefully, probably dreaming about carburetors and constellations. Sam straightened up. Wait here a minute. Before Ethan could respond, she'd disappeared back through the hospital doors. He sat alone with the cooling coffee and his thoughts. The sandwich smelled good, real food, not vending machine synthetic, but his stomach remained a clenched fist. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Ethan began to think she'd gotten pulled into some emergency, hospital life. Didn't pause for parking lot conversations. The automatic doors slid open again. Sam emerged carrying something bulky and blue, a hospital blanket, thick and worn soft from industrial washing. She approached his window again. From the supply closet. They won't miss it. I can't. Yes, you can. She passed it through the half-open window. It's a blanket, not a kidney. Take it. The fabric felt like comfort itself, warm, substantial, smelling faintly of lavender detergent. Ethan pulled it across his lap, immediately feeling less cold than he'd been in days. Thank you. The words seemed inadequate. Sam studied him for a moment, something unreadable in her expression. My shift ends at 7. Lily usually wakes up around 6:30. She'll want to see you. I'll be there. I know you will. She stepped back from the car. Try to get some rest, Ethan. Real rest. You're no good to her if you collapse. She watched him for another heartbeat, as if memorizing something. Then offered a quiet goodbye that carried more weight than 2 syllables should hold. Ethan watched her walk back across the parking lot, her scrubs visible beneath the old coat, white sneakers reflecting the security lights. At the door she paused and looked back once. Just a glance, but something in it made Ethan's chest tighten with an emotion he couldn't name. The doors closed behind her, leaving him alone with the blanket's warmth and a strange certainty that settled in his bones. He'd met someone important tonight. Someone who understood without needing explanations. The morning arrived gray and tired, matching Ethan's bones. He helped Lily from the car, her small hand cold in his. She'd thrown up twice during breakfast, managing only 3 bites of toast before pushing the plate away. Daddy, my legs feel funny. Funny how, sweetheart? Like they're made of jelly, wobbly jelly. He scooped her up, feeling how light she'd become. 3 months ago she would have protested, insisting she was too big to be carried. Now she just rested her head against his shoulder, fingers playing with the collar of his work shirt. The hospital doors opened to familiar antiseptic air. Ethan had memorized every scuff on the linoleum, every motivational poster, trying too hard to inspire. Ward 7 had become their second home, though home implied warmth this place could never provide. Mr. Donovan, he turned. Sam stood near the nurse's station, properly visible in daylight for the first time. Her scrubs were deep blue, name badge clipped precisely. Without the parking lot shadows, he noticed things: how her hair pulled back revealed elegant cheekbones, how she moved with unconscious grace between the chaos of morning rounds. Morning. The word came out rougher than intended. Sam's attention shifted to Lily. And how's our expert on carburetors today? Lily lifted her head slightly. I threw up on my princess socks. Oh no, were they the ones with the sparkly crowns? And unicorns. Lily's voice carried genuine tragedy. Daddy had to throw them away. That's terrible. Sam stepped closer. And Ethan caught something subtle: perfume too expensive for a nurse's salary, though barely there, like she'd tried to hide it. Tell you what, how about I walk with you to your room? I might know where some special socks are hiding. Lily perked up marginally. Really special? The most special. But you have to hold my hand so we don't get lost. Ethan set Lily down carefully. She wobbled once before Sam steadied her, taking the girl's hand with practiced gentleness. They walked slowly, Sam matching Lily's uncertain pace without impatience. "She had a rough night," Ethan said quietly. "The new medication can cause nausea. It should ease up in a day or two." Sam guided them around a crash cart being rushed somewhere urgent. "Did she keep anything down this morning?" "Few bites of toast." "That's actually good, better than nothing." Room 314 had become too familiar, the same Venetian blinds that wouldn't close properly, the chair that squeaked when shifted, walls painted the color of watered-down hope. Sam helped Lily onto the bed while Ethan dropped their overnight bag in the corner. "I'll check her chart, see what Dr. Morrison wants to do today." Sam smoothed Lily's blanket with unconscious care. "The phlebotomist will be by soon for blood work." "The vampire lady?" Lily's nose wrinkled. "Mrs. Chen prefers phlebotomist, but yes, she always misses the first time. Want to know a secret?" Sam leaned closer conspiratorially. "If you tell her your veins are shy and need encouragement, she'll let you pick which arm." "Really?" "Really. Works every time." After Sam left, Ethan settled into the squeaky chair. Lily dozed fitfully while cartoons played at low volume. He tried to focus on his phone, 3 missed calls from his morning employer, 2 texts about late bills, but kept thinking about the nurse's expensive perfume, the way she'd known exactly how to handle Lily's fear. An hour passed. Then 2. Mrs. Chen came and went. Lily's advice worked first try, left arm. Dr. Morrison made rounds, speaking in percentages and possibilities. Through it all, Sam appeared periodically checking monitors, adjusting IV drips, always with a word for Lily or a reassuring glance for Ethan. During one visit, she brought crackers and ginger ale. "For the nausea," she explained, then produced something from her pocket. "And these are for the princess." Socks. Pink and purple stripes with tiny cats wearing crowns. Lily's face transformed completely. "They're perfect. Thought you might like them." Sam helped her put them on, careful of the IV line. "Now your feet are royalty again." Ethan watched this stranger tend to his daughter with more kindness than some relatives had shown. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." She said it simply, like it was obvious. Their eyes met over Lily's head, and something passed between them. Recognition of something unnamed but real. The afternoon wore on. Lily managed to keep down half a cup of broth victory. Sam celebrated with her like she'd climbed Everest. When Lily finally fell into real sleep, not the restless dozing of the medicated, Sam appeared with coffee for Ethan. "Black, 1 sugar?" I guessed. "Good guess." The coffee was from somewhere better than the hospital cafeteria. Another small mystery about her. "She's doing well today, you know. Better than well. Hard to see it when she's throwing up breakfast. I mean her counts. Her numbers." Sam sat on the windowsill, afternoon light catching copper threads in her dark hair. "Dr. Morrison will tell you officially, but her white cells are responding." Finally, the words hit Ethan like electricity. "Responding? It's early. We never promise. But yes, the treatment's working." Ethan set down the coffee before his shaking hands could spill it. 3 months of poison pumped into his baby's veins, and finally something. "You're sure? The numbers don't lie." Sam's smile was gentle but genuine. "She's fighting back, and she's winning." He wanted to cry, wanted to grab this stranger and sob into her expensive-smelling shoulder. Instead, he just stared at his sleeping daughter, seeing possibility instead of endings for the first time in weeks. "Thank you. I didn't do anything." "You did." He met her eyes. "More than you know." Sam looked away first, something flickering across her features, guilt, longing. Before Ethan could identify it, she was standing, professional again. "I should check on my other patients." She left him there with hope blooming in his chest like something fragile and necessary, watching his daughter sleep in her royal cat socks, finally believing tomorrow might exist after all. 3 days crawled by in the familiar rhythm of hospital life. Blood draws at dawn, medications at precise intervals, the eternal question of what Lily might keep down for lunch. Ethan had memorized the rotation of nurses, the squeak of particular wheelchairs, which vending machine had the least stale pretzels. He found himself watching for Sam. Not deliberately. Not at first. But his eyes tracked movement in the hallway, searching for that particular walk, purposeful but unhurried. She worked 12-hour shifts, 3 days on, 4 days off. He'd learned her schedule without meaning to. Thursday afternoon, she appeared with a new IV bag, moving with practiced efficiency around Lily's bed. Her scrubs were navy today instead of the usual teal. The change shouldn't have mattered, but Ethan noticed. "How's our princess feeling?" Sam checked the flow rate, adjusting something minutely. "Tired." Lily's voice was small. The latest round had hit harder than expected. "That's your body working hard to get better. Like training for a marathon, except you get to lie down for it. Marathons are stupid." "Completely agree." Sam winked at Ethan over Lily's head. "That's why I drive everywhere." She worked in comfortable silence, changing out supplies, updating charts on the wall-mounted computer. Ethan watched her hands steady, confident, adorned with just a simple watch. No rings. He caught himself wondering why that mattered and forced his attention back to his phone. "Mr. Donovan?" A different nurse poked her head in. "There's a call for you at the desk. Something about insurance verification." His stomach dropped. Insurance calls never meant good news. Sam must have seen something in his face. "I'll stay with her." The call took 20 minutes. 20 minutes of hold music and transferred departments and forms that needed filing yesterday. When he returned, he found Sam sitting beside Lily's bed, both of them bent over a piece of paper, and Princess Whiskers definitely needs a crown, Lily was saying, her voice stronger than it had been all day. Obviously, no self-respecting cat princess would go without. Sam added careful strokes to whatever they were drawing. She looked up as Ethan entered. "We're designing Lily's dream castle. Apparently, it needs a chocolate fountain in every room. For the cats? For everyone." Lily held up the paper, an elaborate castle with impossible towers and, yes, what appeared to be chocolate fountains marked with arrows. Very practical. Ethan felt the insurance anxiety ease slightly. "What's that in the corner?" "Hospital." Lily pointed to a small building marked with a red cross. "For sick cats. But it's happy, not sad. See? Rainbow windows." Sam stood, leaving the markers within Lily's reach. "I should get back to rounds." "Sam?" Lily's voice stopped her at the door. "Will you come back tomorrow?" "I'm off tomorrow, sweetheart, but Janet will take good care of you." Lily's face fell. Ethan recognized the look another person leaving, even temporarily. Sam must have recognized it too because she hesitated. "But I'll be back Saturday. Early shift. We can add a moat to your castle? With alligators? Friendly ones, obviously." After she left, Lily went back to coloring, but her enthusiasm had dimmed. Ethan understood. Sam had become a bright spot in their medical prison, someone who made the harsh edges softer. Friday dragged. Janet was perfectly competent, professionally kind, but she wasn't Sam. She didn't know that Lily needed extra ice in her water or that she preferred Band-Aids on her left arm because she was right-handed. Small things, insignificant things, things that somehow mattered enormously. That evening, Ethan stood at the nurse's station, waiting to ask about the weekend's treatment schedule. The night shift was changing over, voices mixing as they discussed patients. Through the glass doors, he spotted Sam at the elevator, dressed in street clothes, jeans, and a sweater that looked softer than clouds. He moved without thinking. "Sam?" She turned, surprise flickering across her features. "Mr. Donovan, is everything okay?" "Yes. Fine. He pulled the box from behind his back, drugstore cookies in cheerful packaging. "I wanted to say thanks. You've been kind to my daughter." The elevator dinged, doors sliding open. She didn't move toward it. "You don't have to thank me." Her voice dropped to something private, meant just for him. It's my job, but it means a lot to hear you say that. The elevator closed, forgotten. They stood in the artificial brightness of the hospital corridor, holding a box of cookies between them like an offering. Lily asks about you. When you're not here. She's a special kid. She drew you. Ethan shifted his weight, suddenly feeling like a teenager. In her castle picture, you're the queen. Very elaborate crown. Sam's smile transformed her whole face. I'm honored. Look, I know you probably get this a lot, families getting attached. But you've made this bearable. More than bearable, you've made her feel normal. Something crossed Sam's expression, a shadow of something deeper. Her fingers tightened on the cookie box. Mr. Donovan, Ethan. Please. Ethan. She tested the name carefully. Your daughter makes my job worthwhile. Both of you do. The words hung between them, weighted with possibility. Sam looked down at the cookies, then back at him, and he saw conflict in her eyes, wanting to say something more, holding something back. I should go, she said finally. Early shift tomorrow. Right, of course. She took a step toward the elevator, then paused. The cookies chocolate chip? Double chocolate. My favorite. Another smile, smaller but somehow more real. Thank you, Ethan. She left him standing there, wondering what she'd almost said. Why her simple acceptance of grocery store cookies felt like so much more. Saturday's dawn brought 17 missed calls and a text that simply read, Enough. Samantha. Sam deleted the message without reading it twice. Her father's communications had evolved from subtle hints to outright demands over the past month. Each one reminded her that she was disappointing him, wasting her potential, embarrassing the family name by playing nurse when she could be running hospitals instead of working in them. She dressed in her scrubs with deliberate care, armor against a world that wanted her to be someone else. The small apartment she rented under her mother's maiden name felt more like home than the estate ever had. No marble floors here, no staff waiting to fulfill her every need. Just her, a temperamental coffee maker, and freedom. Another text buzzed through as she locked her door. The foundation gala is Thursday. Your attendance is not optional. She turned off her phone. The hospital welcomed her with its familiar chaos, beeping monitors, rushing feet, the controlled urgency that made her feel useful, real. She checked the assignment board and felt her pulse quicken. Lily Donovan, room 314. She'd requested the assignment, though she hadn't admitted to herself why. You're here. Lily's face brightened the moment Sam entered. The girl had more color today, sitting up in bed with markers spread across her blanket. I promised, didn't I? Where's your dad? Getting coffee. He says hospital coffee tastes like disappointment, but he drinks it anyway. Sam laughed, checking Lily's chart while they talked. The latest test results showed marginal improvement, not enough to celebrate, but not declining either. The treatment was working, just slowly. Too slowly for insurance companies who preferred quick fixes or quick endings. Sam? Lily's voice had gone quiet. Am I getting better? The question cut through all pretense. Sam sat on the bed's edge, choosing her words like selecting medications carefully, precisely. Your body's fighting really hard, and the medicine is helping it fight. But? No buts. Just keep fighting, okay? Ethan appeared in the doorway, 2 coffee cups balanced in his hands. His face shifted when he saw Sam's surprise, then something warmer. Thought you might need this. He offered her one of the cups. Fair warning, it does taste like disappointment. Their fingers brushed during the handoff. Sam pulled back too quickly, coffee sloshing dangerously close to the rim. I should check on my other patients. Sam made my veins better. Lily announced. Look, you can barely see where the needle goes now. She's magic like that. Ethan's eyes stayed on Sam, making her hyper-aware of every movement. She escaped to the hallway, pressing her back against the wall. This was getting complicated. She'd helped dozens of families, kept appropriate boundaries with all of them. But Ethan looked at her like she was extraordinary just for doing her job, and Lily drew pictures of her wearing crowns, and somehow they'd become the highlight of her shifts. Her phone, powered back on during lunch, exploded with notifications. 3 voicemails from her mother, each more exasperated than the last. An email from her brother with the subject line, "Stop being selfish," and a message from her father's assistant with flight details for a trip she hadn't agreed to take. She deleted them all and opened her laptop instead. The medical journal database yielded 3 new studies on pediatric cancer treatments. One in Germany showed promising results with a modified therapy protocol. Another from Japan focused on reducing side effects while maintaining efficacy. She bookmarked them all, adding notes about Lily's specific case. Research? Janet peered over her shoulder. Just staying current. Uh-huh. This wouldn't have anything to do with the single dad who keeps looking at you like you hung the moon? It's not like that. Sure it's not. Janet's tone suggested deep skepticism. That's why you're spending your lunch break researching experimental treatments that cost more than most people's houses. Sam snapped the laptop closed. I'm trying to help. I'm not criticizing, just observing. You know there are programs, right? For families who can't afford treatment. Most have waiting lists, or require qualifications Ethan wouldn't meet. He works too much to be considered truly destitute, but not enough to afford what Lily needs. Speaking from experience? Sam caught herself. Janet didn't know about her background. None of them did. She'd been careful to present herself as just another nurse who'd worked her way through school. Just research. That afternoon, she found herself back in Lily's room during a quiet moment. Ethan had stepped out for a phone call, probably work, juggling schedules around hospital visits. Lily was drowsing, exhausted from the morning's procedures. Sam studied the chart again, cross-referencing with her research. The German protocol might work, but it required equipment this hospital didn't have. The Japanese approach needed specialists they couldn't afford to bring in. Every solution led to the same wall. Money. Money she had. Money that could solve everything if she could just... You look like you're planning a heist. Ethan stood in the doorway, attempting lightness despite the strain around his eyes. Just thinking through treatment options. We have options? The hope in his voice nearly broke her resolve. She could fix this. One phone call to her father's accountant, an anonymous donation, and Lily could have the best treatment available. But then what? Maintain the lie forever? Watch them struggle when she held the solution? There are always options. We just have to find the right ones. He moved closer, close enough that she could smell the garage on his clothes, mixed with hospital soap. Working even on Saturday, probably squeezed between visiting hours. You don't have to do this, you know. Go above and beyond. I want to. Why? The question hung between them. Because you look at me like I'm worth something. Because your daughter reminds me why I became a nurse. Because you both make me feel real in a way my family never has. Because I care. It came out whispered, too honest. His expression shifted, recognizing the weight of what she wasn't saying. Sam. Her phone rang, shrill and insistent. Her father's ringtone, the one she couldn't ignore forever. I have to take this. She fled to the stairwell, already knowing what she'd hear. Disappointment. Demands. The weight of being Samantha Bailey, billionaire heiress, when all she wanted was to be Sam, the nurse who made a little girl smile. By Friday, the improvement in Lily's blood work had the doctors cautiously optimistic. Her white cell count had stabilized, the latest scan showed the tumor hadn't grown, and she'd even managed to keep down solid food 3 days running, small victories that felt enormous after months of setbacks. Ethan should have felt relief. Instead, he sat at his kitchen table at 2 a.m, calculator in hand, bills spread across the scratched surface like accusations. The mechanic job paid decent when there was work, but business had been slow. The delivery gig helped fill gaps, but gas prices ate into profits. Even with both jobs, the numbers wouldn't add up. The current treatment was working, but just maintaining it would drain his savings within 2 months. His credit cards were maxed. The second mortgage on the house Sarah had loved, where Lily had taken her first steps, that was next. Then what? He pushed the papers away and rubbed his eyes. In 4 hours he'd need to be at the garage, then straight to the hospital for Lily's afternoon session, then the evening delivery route. Somewhere in there, he'd grab a gas station sandwich and pretend everything was fine when Lily asked why he looked tired. Sam had been different all week. Still kind, still attentive to Lily, but distracted. She'd been on her phone more, stepping out for hushed conversations. Ethan caught her once in the supply closet, laptop open, studying something that looked like medical research papers. When she'd seen him, she'd snapped it shut like a guilty teenager. He'd wanted to ask what was wrong, but what right did he have? She was Lily's nurse, not his friend. The cookies had been presumptuous enough. The fact that she'd started bringing him coffee during her breaks, that they'd fallen into easy conversation about everything except what mattered, that was just professional kindness. Had to be. Saturday morning arrived gray and drizzling. Ethan's car wouldn't start at first, the engine grinding before finally catching. Another expense he couldn't afford, another problem for the growing pile. He made it to the hospital just as visiting hours began, finding Lily already awake and chatting with Sam. "Daddy, Sam says I'm getting stronger." "That's great, sweetheart." Sam avoided his eyes, focusing on adjusting Lily's IV. "The doctor will be by soon with test results." She left quickly, barely acknowledging him. Ethan tried not to feel the sting of it. Whatever was bothering her wasn't his business. The day dragged on. Lily napped through most of it, worn out despite the improvements. Ethan dozed in the uncomfortable chair, jolting awake when his phone buzzed with shift reminders he'd have to decline. Every declined shift was money lost, but he couldn't leave, not today. Something felt different, charged, like the air before a storm. That night, he retreated to his car while Lily slept. The parking lot was nearly empty, just him and the overnight staff vehicles. Rain drummed on the roof, and he let himself sink into the white noise of it, too tired to think about bills or treatments or the pretty nurse who'd started avoiding him. His phone rang at 9:47 p.m. The hospital's main line. "Mr. Donovan, this is Dr. Martinez. I apologize for calling so late, but we've had a development regarding Lily's treatment plan." Ethan's stomach dropped. Developments were never good. They were expensive. "There's a new protocol we'd like to implement. It's showing remarkable success rates in cases similar to Lily's. We've managed to fast-track approval, and we could start as early as Monday." That's incredible. What's involved?" Dr. Martinez explained. "Specialized equipment, a team of experts, medications not covered by standard insurance." The numbers he quoted might as well have been in millions for all Ethan's ability to pay them. "I understand this is a significant financial commitment. I can't." The words scraped his throat. "I want to, God, I want to, but I can't afford it. Mr. Donovan, we can discuss payment plans." "You don't understand. I'm already behind on the current bills. I've got nothing left to leverage." Silence on the other end. Then, carefully, "Let's see what we can do. Sometimes funding becomes available. Don't lose hope." Ethan ended the call and pressed his forehead against the steering wheel. Hope. He'd run out of that particular currency weeks ago. Sunday morning came too soon. He'd managed 3 hours of broken sleep in the car before the parking lot security guard knocked on his window, suggesting he might be more comfortable inside. Pride kept him in the car, but exhaustion drove him back to Lily's room at dawn. Sam was already there, checking vitals while Lily slept. "You're here early." She turned, and something in her expression made his chest tight. Determination mixed with what looked like fear. "We need to talk." She led him to the family lounge, empty at this hour. Her hands twisted together, a nervous gesture he'd never seen from her before. "The new treatment protocol. Lily's going to receive it. Sam, I can't. Free of charge. Everything. The equipment, the specialists, the medications. All of it." The world tilted. Ethan gripped the arm of the couch. That's not possible. It is. It's arranged. The paperwork will be ready tomorrow, but I wanted you to know now. Lily's getting everything she needs. How? She looked away. There are programs, funding sources. I've been researching, Sam. He waited until she met his eyes. This kind of thing doesn't just happen. What aren't you telling me? Her composure cracked slightly, something vulnerable flickering through. Does it matter? Lily gets treatment. That's what's important. It should have been enough. His daughter would get the care she needed. The crushing weight of financial ruin would lift. But looking at Sam, at the way she held herself like she was bracing for impact, Ethan knew there was more to this story. Much more. Why? The question came out rough. Why would you do this for us? The next few days passed in a blur of medical consultations and paperwork. Ethan signed form after form, each one feeling surreal. Complete coverage. No payment required. The administrators treated it as routine, but nothing about this felt normal to him. Lily bounced between treatments with renewed energy. The new protocol worked faster than anyone expected. Color returned to her cheeks. She laughed more, ate better, stayed awake longer. Every improvement should have eased Ethan's mind, but the questions gnawed at him. Sam checked on them daily, always professional, always kind, but something had shifted. She lingered less, kept conversations focused on Lily's care. When their eyes met, she looked away first. She likes you, Lily announced Wednesday afternoon, coloring in her hospital bed while Ethan dozed in the chair. What? Sam. She watches you when you're not looking. She's checking on you, sweetheart. That's her job. Lily shook her head, focused on staying within the lines. No, she watches you. Like how Mrs. Patterson used to watch Mr. Patterson at church before Mommy said they were being gross. The mention of his wife sent a familiar ache through his chest. 2 years, and it still caught him off guard. Adults are complicated. Lily. You like her too, Lily. You smile different when she's here. He didn't have an answer for that. Thursday brought another shift he couldn't take, another bill he couldn't pay. The treatment might be covered, but rent wasn't. Groceries weren't. The car needed gas, and the engine made sounds that promised expensive repairs soon. Sam found him in the parking lot that night, slumped against his car door, staring at his phone calculator like the numbers might change if he looked hard enough. Rough day? He pocketed the phone. Lily's doing great. That's not what I asked. She stood there in her scrubs and that same faded coat, holding 2 cups of coffee from the machine inside. Real coffee. Not the free stuff from the family lounge. She held one out. I can't keep taking things from you. It's coffee, Ethan, not a kidney. He accepted the cup, the warmth spreading through his cold fingers. She leaned against the car beside him, close enough that he caught the scent of her shampoo. Something simple, clean, nothing fancy. Want to sit somewhere warmer? The cafeteria was nearly empty, just them and a janitor mopping the far corner. Harsh, fluorescent lights made everything look tired, worn. Sam led them to a corner booth, away from the windows. When's the last time you ate actual food? This morning. Maybe yesterday morning. She didn't lecture him, just pushed half of her sandwich across the table. Ham and cheese, nothing special, but his stomach cramped at the sight of it. Sam, eat, please. He took a bite to stop the argument forming. They sat quietly while he ate, Sam sipping her coffee, watching him with those careful eyes. How are you really doing? The question, soft as it was, cracked something in him. I'm drowning. The admission fell out before he could stop it. Even with the treatment covered, I'm drowning. I can't work enough hours because I need to be here. Can't be here enough because I need to work. The car's dying, rent's overdue, and I've got $17 in my account until Friday. 17. She reached across the table, her fingers barely brushing his hand. Every day, I wake up terrified this is the day I fail her completely. Not just the medical stuff that's covered now, somehow, miraculously, but everything else. What kind of father can't even provide a home? What happens when we get discharged and I can't? His voice broke. Sam's hand covered his fully now, warm and steady. You're not failing her. You're here. Every day, you're here. Being here isn't enough. It's everything. Her intensity surprised him. Trust me, having a parent who shows up, who stays, who fights, that's everything. Something in her voice, a weight to the words, made him study her face. She pulled her hand back, wrapping both around her coffee cup. You sound like you know. She shrugged, a practiced, casual movement that didn't reach her eyes. I see a lot of families here. You'd be surprised how many parents don't stay. Your parents are complicated. The non-answer hung between them. Ethan recognized deflection. He'd mastered it himself but didn't push. I just wish I could give her more, better, the life she deserves. She has you. That's what she deserves. Their eyes held, and something electric passed between them. Sam looked away first, checking her watch. I should get back. Sam. She paused, half risen from the booth. Thank you. For everything. I don't understand it, but thank you. Her smile was sad, beautiful, and hiding something vast. You don't need to thank me. She left him there with half a sandwich and a cooling cup of coffee, wondering why helping them seemed to hurt her so much. The pull between them was undeniable now, a gravity neither seemed able to escape, but there were walls there too, carefully constructed barriers that kept deeper truths at bay. The week started with 3 missed calls from her father before Sam's shift even began. By Tuesday, it was 7. Wednesday brought text messages, in addition to the calls clipped, formal demands that she return to her responsibilities. Each one tightened the knot in her chest. She deleted them all. Thursday's call came while she was checking on Lily. The girl was coloring, tongue poking out in concentration, while Sam adjusted her IV drip. Her phone buzzed insistently in her pocket. Lily looked up. Someone really wants to talk to you. They can wait. Sam silenced the phone. What are you drawing? Our house. When I get better, we're going to have a yellow house with a big yard and a dog named Pickles. Pickles? Daddy said we could get a dog when... The little girl's face clouded. When things get better. Sam's phone buzzed again. This time, she saw her brother's name flash across the screen. If Marcus was calling, her father was escalating. I'll be right back, sweetie. In the hallway, she answered with forced calm. What? Dad's losing it, Sam. The Henderson acquisition needs your signature. The board's asking questions about where you are. I'm working. Playing nurse isn't work. It's a fantasy you need to... She hung up. Her hands shook as she shoved the phone back in her pocket. Through the window, she watched Lily coloring, adding a sun with careful yellow strokes. The weight of 2 worlds pressed against her ribs. That night, she found Ethan exactly where she expected in his car, forehead pressed against the steering wheel. His shoulders shook silently. She knocked gently. He startled, wiping his face quickly, but his eyes were red, swollen. Without asking, she opened the passenger door and slid in beside him. Bad day? A broken laugh escaped him. Lily asked me tonight if she's gonna die. Sam's heart cracked. She wanted to know if Mommy would be there, waiting for her. 6 years old, and she's asking about... His voice shattered completely. Sam reached over, taking his hand. He gripped it like a lifeline. What did you tell her? That she's getting better, that the doctors are smart and the medicine is working, that we're gonna get that yellow house she keeps drawing. Fresh tears rolled down his face. I lied to my baby girl because I don't know. I don't know if any of it's true. It wasn't a lie. She is getting better. But for how long? And even if she does, then what? I've got $12 left. 12. My boss finally fired me yesterday, can't blame him. I've missed more shifts than I've worked. The landlord's threatening eviction. I can't even afford gas to get her home when she's discharged. His grip on her hand tightened painfully. I'm failing her in every way that matters. Stop! Sam turned in the seat to face him fully. You want to know what failure looks like? It's having everything, money, power, every advantage, and using none of it, to help people. It's sitting in board meetings discussing profit margins while kids like Lily suffer. That's failure. Ethan studied her face in the dim light from the hospital entrance. You talk like you know. She almost told him then. The words pressed against her teeth, desperate to escape. Instead, she offered a different truth. My family has money, lots of it. They think throwing cash at problems solves them, but they've never solved anything that mattered. They want me to come home, take my rightful place in their world. She laughed bitterly. They call this being here, helping people playing pretend. Like caring about strangers is some childish phase I'll grow out of. Why don't you tell them to go to hell? Because they're still family. Because walking away from that world means walking away from resources that could help people. Because I'm a coward who can't fully commit to either life. The confession hung between them. Ethan squeezed her hand gently. You're here. Every night, you're here helping people. That's not cowardice. I hide behind these scrubs, let people think I'm just another nurse living paycheck to paycheck. If they knew the truth. What truth? She pulled back, the moment of revelation passing. That I could do more, be more. You do plenty. Her phone buzzed again. This time, she looked at it, a photo from Marcus, of legal documents requiring her signature, hundreds of millions in acquisitions waiting on her approval. She turned the phone face down. Helping you and Lily, it's not duty anymore, hasn't been for a while. The admission came quietly. It's the only thing that feels real. You're both the only real thing in my life right now. Ethan's thumb traced circles on her palm, a gentle, unconscious movement that sent warmth through her chest. I'm scared, Sam. His voice was barely a whisper. I'm so scared I can't breathe sometimes. What if the treatment stops working? What if I lose her? What if I won't let that happen? You can't promise that. Watch me. The fierce certainty in her voice surprised them both. Whatever it takes, whatever you need, I'll help you through this. Why? Because I'm falling in love with you. Because your daughter feels like family. Because I have millions sitting in accounts I never touch while you count coins for gas. Because you deserve help. Both of you. He brought her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. The gesture was so tender, so unexpected, that tears pricked her eyes. I don't know what I did to deserve you. You don't know what you've done for me, she thought. You've shown me what actually matters. The hospital conference room felt too small with just the two of them in it. Sam spread medical forms across the table while Ethan hunched over them, pen frozen in his hand. This section is for insurance information, she said gently. We can leave it blank for now, because I don't have any. The pen trembled slightly. 2 years. That's how long it's been since I could afford coverage. Sam watched him struggle with the next section, emergency contacts. His hand hovered over the blank lines. I used to write Sarah's name here. His voice caught. Even 6 months after she died, I kept writing it, like muscle memory. Tell me about her. The request surprised him. Most people avoided the subject, treated his grief like something contagious. She was everything I'm not. Organized, optimistic, always had a plan. A sad smile touched his lips. She kept these color-coded calendars for everything. Doctor appointments, school events, date nights. I found them after. She'd scheduled things months out. Lily's first day of kindergarten, our anniversary, her birthday. All these moments she wouldn't see. Sam's chest tightened. She wanted to reach for him but kept her hands still. She got sick right after Lily turned 4. Fought for 8 months. The whole time she kept making plans, like if she scheduled enough future events, she'd have to stick around for them. His pen pressed hard enough to tear through the paper. The cancer didn't care about her calendars. She sounds amazing. She was. That's the problem. He set the pen down, rubbing his eyes. How do you move on from amazing? How do you even want to? And now, with Lily sick too. He trailed off, staring at the forms that documented his failures as a provider. Sam shifted closer, their shoulders almost touching. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting, doesn't it? Sometimes I can't remember her voice anymore. I'll hear Lily laugh and think, that's Sarah's laugh, but I can't actually hear Sarah's. It's just gone. The overhead fluorescent light flickered, casting shifting shadows across the paperwork. Sam noticed how exhausted he looked in this harsh light, the deep circles under his eyes, the gray threading through his stubble, the weight he'd lost. She'd hate what I've become, he continued. This scared, broken version of myself. She married a man who could take care of his family. You are taking care of your family. By sleeping in my car? By choosing between gas and groceries? By lying to my daughter about... He stopped abruptly, jaw clenching. Sam's hand moved without permission, covering his. By being here, every single day, you're here. He stared at their joined hands. Sometimes you remind me of her. Not physically, but the way you see good in everything. The way you make impossible things seem possible. The comparison sent conflicting emotions through Sam. Honor at being compared to someone he'd loved so deeply, guilt at the deception between them, and something else. Something that felt dangerously close to jealousy. I'm not trying to replace her, she said carefully. I know. That's what makes it worse. You're not like her at all, but you make me feel. He pulled his hand away, returning to the forms. Forget it. Feel what? Like, maybe I'm not just waiting to die too. The raw honesty of it stole her breath. She wanted to tell him everything then about the foundation she was secretly establishing, the treatment funds she'd already arranged, the specialists she'd contacted, about the trust fund that could solve every practical problem he faced. But looking at him now, she understood with crushing clarity that the truth would destroy this fragile thing building between them. He'd see betrayal where she meant kindness. He'd see pity where she felt love. Love. The word settled into her consciousness, uninvited but undeniable. You make me feel real, she admitted. Everyone else sees what they want to see, the nurse, the caregiver, the role I'm playing. You see me. Do I? His gaze was too perceptive. Sometimes I think you're hiding something, like you're afraid to let anyone too close. Her pulse quickened. Everyone hides things. What are you hiding, Sam? Everything. Nothing that matters. The only truth you need to know is that I'd give up everything for you and Lily. I'm hiding how scared I am too, she said instead. Scared of failing the people who depend on me. Scared of not being enough. You're more than enough. The conviction in his voice undid something inside her. When he reached for her hand again, she let him take it. His thumb traced the ridge of her knuckles, a gesture becoming familiar between them. I don't know what I'm doing, he confessed. With these feelings. With you. Sarah's been gone 2 years, but it feels like yesterday and forever ago at the same time. And now there's you, and I don't know if I'm allowed to feel this way. What way? Like I want to know everything about you, like your shift ending is the worst part of my day, like maybe... He stopped, shaking his head. I'm sorry. You're being kind. And I'm making it complicated. It's already complicated. They sat in the quiet conference room, hands linked across medical forms that documented one kind of truth while hiding so many others. Sam felt the weight of her deception pressing down, threatening to suffocate the tender thing growing between them. Soon, she promised herself. Soon she'd find a way to tell him that wouldn't destroy everything. But tonight, in this small room with its flickering light, she let herself pretend they were exactly who they seemed to be, a nurse and a single father, finding unexpected comfort in each other's company. The email arrived at 6:47 a.m., marked urgent with the cold efficiency of corporate communication. Ethan read it 3 times before the words sank in. Effective immediately, all specialized pediatric oncology treatments require pre-authorization and a minimum deposit of $50,000. Might as well have been 50 million. He stood in the hallway outside Lily's room, phone pressed to his ear, as the billing department explained the new policies. Private equity had bought the hospital group. streamlining operations, maximizing efficiency. Every euphemism for putting profit over patience. Her next treatment is scheduled for tomorrow, he said, fighting to keep his voice level. She needs it tomorrow. I understand, Mr. Donovan, but without the deposit. He hung up. Through the small window, he watched Lily sleeping, her favorite stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. The IV drip counted time in steady drops, each one suddenly precious, finite. By noon, he'd called 17 banks. Personal loans, medical loans, second mortgages on an apartment he didn't own. His credit score might as well have been his prisoner number. The mechanic shop where he worked part-time couldn't advance him more than a week's pay. The delivery company had already given him everything they could. What about Cleveland? His sister's voice crackled through the phone from Phoenix. They have that children's hospital. I called. 6-month waiting list, unless you're already in their system. Boston? Same story. And even if they'd take her, how would I pay for the move? The temporary housing? I'd have to quit both jobs, and then what? Silence stretched between them. His sister had her own struggles, 3 kids, a husband on disability. She'd already sent what she could spare. I could sell the car? He said, knowing how hollow it sounded. A 15-year-old sedan with 200 miles wouldn't cover a fraction of what he needed. Sam found him in the stairwell at 2 p.m., laptop balanced on his knees, surrounded by printouts of clinical trials, treatment centers, medical tourism websites offering cancer care in Mexico. I heard about the policy changes, she said, sitting beside him. They're calling it restructuring, like my daughter's life is a line item on a spreadsheet. His hands shook as he shuffled through the papers. Houston has a program, but they need 30 up front. There's a clinical trial in Portland, but she might not qualify. I found a doctor in Tijuana who claims Ethan. Sam's voice carried a strange tension. Stop. I can't stop. If I stop, she... The papers scattered as his control finally cracked. I'm her father. I'm supposed to protect her. I'm supposed to fix this. Sam gathered the fallen pages with deliberate calm, though her hands trembled slightly. Give me 24 hours. For what? Just, trust me, 24 hours. She left before he could respond, her white sneakers echoing down the concrete stairs. Ethan stared at the scattered printouts, each one a different, desperate hope, a different, impossible solution. That night, he sat with Lily as she ate dinner, trying to memorize everything. The way she carefully separated her peas from her carrots, how she hummed between bites, the gap where she'd lost a tooth last month, the tooth fairy bringing $1 he couldn't really spare. Daddy, why are you staring? Just thinking how pretty you are. She giggled. You're weird. The weirdest. After she fell asleep, he walked the hospital corridors like a ghost. Other families huddled in waiting rooms, wearing the same exhausted desperation he saw in every reflective surface. He wondered how many of them had gotten the same email that morning, how many were making the same impossible calculations. At 3 a.m., he found himself in the chapel, though he hadn't prayed since Sarah's funeral. The silence felt accusatory. I'll do anything, he whispered to the empty pews. Take whatever you want from me. Just not her. The next morning arrived gray and bitter. Ethan had managed 2 hours of sleep in the chair beside Lily's bed, dreaming of forms he couldn't complete, money he couldn't find, time running out like sand through his fingers. Sam appeared at 10 a.m., looking like she hadn't slept either. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, but there was something else in her expression, determination, mixed with what looked like fear. We need to talk, she said, privately. They found an empty consultation room. Sam closed the door, checked the hallway, then turned to face him with an expression he couldn't read. Lily's treatment will continue. Everything she needs, the specialized care, the medications, the whole protocol, it's covered. The words didn't process immediately. What do you mean, covered? I mean paid for, handled. She'll get everything she needs, and you don't have to worry about the cost. I don't understand. The hospital said, not through the hospital, through private funding. A network of donors I'm connected with, people who want to help. The room tilted slightly. Ethan gripped the edge of the table. What kind of network? Does it matter? Of course it matters. People don't just... He stopped, studying her face. The guilt written there. The careful distance she maintained. What did you do, Sam? I helped. How? Does it matter how? Yes. The word came out harder than intended. Because this feels like charity, like pity, like you think I'm some kind of... It's not pity. Then what is it? It's... She turned toward the window, shoulders rigid. It's people helping people, that's all. Nobody helps like this without wanting something. Maybe they want Lily to get better. Maybe they want you to stop destroying yourself trying to save her. You don't even know me, don't I? The question hung between them, loaded with everything they hadn't said. Ethan started avoiding the cafeteria during Sam's breaks. He changed his routes through the hospital, taking longer paths to dodge the nurse's station. When she knocked on Lily's door, he found excuses to step out phantom phone calls, sudden needs for coffee, paperwork that couldn't wait. Sam noticed. Of course she noticed. Daddy's being weird, Lily announced during one of Sam's visits, coloring a picture of a rainbow. He keeps running away. Maybe he's just tired, sweetie. No, it's when you come. Are you guys fighting? Sam's chest tightened. We're not fighting. Good. I like you. Lily held up her drawing. This is for you. It's us, you, me, and Daddy. See? We're all holding hands. The innocence of it nearly broke her. That evening, Sam's phone vibrated relentlessly. Her father again. She let it ring 3 times before answering. Samantha, this has gone on long enough. Hello to you too, Dad. The board meeting is next week. You will be there. I'm working. At that hospital? Playing nurse? His voice dripped contempt. You have responsibilities. Real ones. To this family, to the company, to your empire, you mean. Don't be dramatic. You knew this day would come. You've had your little rebellion, your time playing Mother Teresa. Now, it's time to grow up. I am grown up. This is my choice. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're hiding. Running from who you really are. The accusation stung because it held truth. I'm helping people. You could help more people with the resources at your disposal. Instead, you're wasting your potential changing bedpans. I have to go. Samantha, if you don't show up next week, I'll freeze your trust. All of it. Let's see how long you last on a nurse's salary. The line went dead. Sam stood in the break room, phone heavy in her hand. Through the window, she watched Ethan in the parking lot, slumped against his car. Even from here, she could see the exhaustion in every line of his body. Heavy thoughts tonight? Sam turned to find Claire watching her, wise eyes taking in everything. Something like that. Claire poured 2 cups of coffee, the ritual familiar and comforting. Want to talk about it? They found chairs in the corner, away from the overnight staff grabbing quick meals. I'm in trouble, Claire. What kind of trouble? Sam stared into her coffee, searching for words. There's a patient. Well, a patient's father, Ethan Donovan, the one who sleeps in his car. You know about that? Honey, everyone knows. That man's devotion to his daughter is the talk of the ward. Claire studied her carefully. But this isn't about his devotion, is it? I care about him. More than I should. Nothing wrong with caring. There is when you're lying to him. Claire set down her cup. What kind of lying? The words tumbled out her family. The wealth, the anonymous funding for Lily's treatment, the growing feelings she couldn't control. Claire listened without interrupting, her expression growing more concerned with each revelation. Oh, honey, she said when Sam finished. You've got yourself in deep. I know. He's going to find out. I know that too. Better from you than someone else. Sam's hands wrapped around her, cup, seeking warmth she couldn't find. He already doesn't trust me. He's pulling away. If I tell him now, he'll be angry. He'll hate me. Maybe. But secrets have a way of coming out, and the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Claire reached across, covering Sam's hand with her weathered one. I've seen a lot of love stories in this place. The ones that last, they're built on truth. This isn't a love story. Isn't it? Sam couldn't answer. That man is drowning, Claire continued. You threw him a lifeline, but you didn't tell him who was holding the other end. What happens when he finds out? I don't know. Yes, you do. You're just scared to face it. They sat in silence, watching the night shift rhythm of the hospital nurses checking charts, orderlies pushing wheelchairs, the constant dance of caring for others while carrying their own burdens. My father's threatening to cut me off, Sam admitted. If I don't come home, take my place in the family business. And I don't want to go. This place, these people, it's the first time I've felt like I'm actually living. Not performing, not meeting expectations, just being useful. That's not nothing. But Ethan needs the truth, and you need to decide what you're willing to sacrifice for it. Claire stood, gathering their cups. I've been a nurse for 30 years, seen all kinds of pain. The worst isn't from disease or injury. It's from the lies we tell to protect ourselves. Sam watched her go, then returned to the window. Ethan's car was gone. She checked her phone, another 6 missed calls from her father, 2 from her mother, 1 from the family lawyer. Tomorrow. She'd tell him tomorrow. But tomorrow felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing the fall would destroy everything they'd built, however fragile and founded on deception it might be. The parking lot stretched empty except for Ethan's car and the scattered vehicles of the night shift. He sat on the hood, legs dangling, watching the horizon where city lights bled into darkness. 3 days since he'd last spoken to Sam beyond necessary exchanges about Lily's care. 3 days of dodging her concerned looks, of leaving rooms when she entered, of building walls he didn't know how to tear down. The crunch of footsteps on gravel made him tense. He knew that walk, had learned its rhythm during countless late-night conversations. Mind if I join you? Sam stood a few feet away, still in her scrubs, hair pulled back in the messy bun that meant she'd worked a double. The parking lot lights caught the exhaustion in her face, the worry she'd been carrying. Free country. She climbed up beside him, careful to leave space between them. They sat in silence, watching planes blink across the sky, heading to places where people's problems might be different, simpler. You're avoiding me. I'm protecting myself. From what? From whatever game you're playing. The words came out harsher than intended. Nobody does what you've done. Nobody helps like this without wanting something. Maybe I just wanted to help. Nobody's that good. I'm not good. Her voice cracked. I'm really not. Something in her tone made him turn. Sam stared at her hands, fingers twisted together like she was holding herself from falling apart. I've been lying to you. The admission hit him like cold water. Part of him wanted to walk away, to protect what was left of his ability to trust. But another part, the part that had started depending on her presence, kept him frozen on that hood. About what? Everything. Nothing. I don't know where to start. Try the beginning. Sam pulled her knees up, making herself smaller. My name is Samantha Bailey. That part's true, but I'm not just a nurse. What else are you? Doctor? Administrator? She took a breath that shook. My father is Richard Bailey. Bailey Industries. My family owns half the medical facilities on the East Coast. The money for Lily's treatment, the special procedures, the private room that was me, the world tilted. Ethan slid off the hood, needing solid ground under his feet. You're telling me you're rich? Not just rich. She met his eyes, and he saw terror there. Billionaire rich, heir to an empire rich. So rich that I could buy this hospital tomorrow if I wanted. Stop. You need to hear this. Stop. His hands clenched, unclenched, searching for something to hold on to that made sense. You're telling me this whole time you've been what? Slumming? Playing nurse to feel better about yourself? No, it's not like that. Then what's it like? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been lying to my face for weeks, playing some game while my daughter," his voice broke, "while my daughter's been fighting for her life. I became a nurse because I wanted to help people. Real help, not just writing checks from an ivory tower. But you did write checks, for Lily." "Yes, without telling me." "Yes, without giving me a choice." Sam slid off the hood, facing him. "What choice would you have made? Would you have accepted help from a stranger, a wealthy stranger?" "That wasn't your decision to make. Your daughter needed treatment, and I needed honesty." The words exploded out of him. "Do you have any idea what it's like? Watching everyone around you have things you can't give your own child? Feeling like a failure every single day because you can't afford to save her? I was trying to what? Save me? Fix the poor single dad who sleeps in his car? To care about you." Sam's composure shattered. "I was trying to care about you without all the baggage that comes with my name, without you looking at me like everyone else does, like I'm a wallet or a connection or a disappointment to my family." Ethan turned away, hands in his hair, trying to process the hurricane of emotions tearing through him. Betrayal, anger, hurt, and underneath it all, something he didn't want to examine, the realization that despite everything, he still trusted her, still wanted her in his life. "I fell for you," Sam continued, voice small. "Not planned, not expected. But every day, watching you with Lily, seeing how hard you fight for her, I fell for you. And I kept lying because I was terrified that the truth would ruin everything. It has ruined everything, has it?" He spun to face her. "You tell me, how am I supposed to trust anything now? Every moment, every conversation, was any of it real?" "All of it was real. My feelings, my respect for you, my love for Lily, all real. But built on lies, built on fear," she corrected. "Fear that you'd look at me differently. Fear that you'd pull away. Fear that I'd lose the first real connection I've had in years." Ethan studied her, really looked at her for the first time since she'd started talking. The woman in front of him wore the same scrubs, had the same tired eyes, the same gentle hands that had cared for his daughter. But now he saw other things too, the way she held herself, the quality of her watch he'd never noticed, the perfect teeth that spoke of excellent dental care most people couldn't afford. A billionaire. "I'm sorry. Why nursing?" "Because it's honest work. Because when I help someone, it's immediate, real. I can see the difference I make. Must be nice, choosing to work instead of having to." The bitterness in his voice made her flinch. "I know how it sounds. Poor little rich girl playing at being normal. But this is who I am, who I want to be." "And who's that?" "Someone who matters. Someone whose worth isn't measured in dollars." She wrapped her arms around herself. "Someone you might have loved if I hadn't ruined everything." The word hung between them. Love. Neither had said it before, but it had been growing in the spaces between words, in shared looks over Lily's bed, in the comfort of another person, understanding the weight you carried. The fluorescent lights of the pediatric ward buzzed overhead as Sam checked Lily's vitals. 3 days had passed since the parking lot. 3 days of Ethan arriving exactly when her shift ended, leaving exactly when she returned. No accidental meetings, no lingering conversations. Just the ghost of what they'd built, haunting the hallways between them. "Where's Sam?" Lily asked, small fingers picking at her hospital bracelet. "She's working, sweetheart." Ethan's voice came from the doorway, careful not to look at the nurse adjusting his daughter's IV. "But she always reads to me before my nap." "Not today." Sam's hands stilled on the clipboard. She forced herself to make a note about medication schedules, anything to avoid meeting his eyes. The familiar warmth between them had frozen into something brittle, ready to shatter at the slightest pressure. "I can," Sam started. "We're fine." His tone cut clean through her offer. "Come on, Lily, I'll read to you." She watched them settle into their routine, Ethan pulling the uncomfortable chair close, Lily curling against his side with her favorite book. The same scene she'd witnessed dozens of times, except now she stood outside it, a stranger again. The shift dragged. Every room she entered reminded her of conversations they'd shared. The supply closet, where he'd helped her reorganize medications while talking about Lily's first words. The break room where they'd split sandwiches at 2 in the morning, too tired to care about proper meals. The nurse's station where he'd lean while she finished paperwork, neither wanting to say goodnight first. Claire found her crying in the bathroom an hour before shift change. "Oh, honey." The older nurse pulled her into a hug without asking questions. "I ruined everything." "You told him the truth. That's not ruining, that's building on honest ground." "He won't even look at me. He's processing." Men need time to sort through their pride. Sam pulled away, dabbing at her eyes with rough paper towels. "What if he never forgives me?" "Then you'll know you tried. But, from what I've seen, that man cares too much to walk away forever." But it felt like forever. Each day stretched endless without their easy conversations. Sam threw herself into work, taking extra shifts, volunteering for the difficult cases. Anything to fill the Ethan-shaped void in her routine. Her father called repeatedly. She let it go to voicemail. "Samantha, this foolishness has gone on long enough. The board meeting is next week. You have responsibilities." Delete. "Your mother is beside herself." At least call her back. Delete. "If you don't respond by tomorrow, I'm coming to get you myself." Delete. Her family's demands felt distant, unimportant, compared to the pain in Ethan's eyes when he'd learned the truth. She'd give up every penny to take back the hurt she'd caused. On the fourth night, she found him in his usual spot, the parking lot. Car running for heat. Staring at nothing. She almost walked past. Almost. But something in his posture, the defeated slump of his shoulders, made her stop. She knocked on the passenger window. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face before the walls went back up. After a long moment, he unlocked the door. Sam climbed in, the familiar scent of coffee and exhaustion wrapping around her. They sat in silence, watching the emergency room entrance where ambulances came and went with mechanical regularity. "Her counts are down again," he said finally. "I saw the charts. The doctor thinks it's temporary, a reaction to the new medication." "It happens sometimes." Her body's adjusting. More silence. A couple hurried past, supporting each other as they entered the hospital. Sam wondered what crisis brought them here, what fear drove their urgent steps. "I looked you up," Ethan admitted. "Samantha Bailey, heir to Bailey Industries. Your father owns half of downtown. I never wanted any of it. Must be nice to have the luxury of not wanting it." The words stung, but she didn't argue. How could she explain a lifetime of feeling trapped by money to someone who'd never had enough? "You paid for everything, not just the treatment. The parking fees I thought were waived. The cafeteria meals that were supposedly complimentary." The social worker said an anonymous donor covered it all. "You needed help. I needed honesty. Would you have taken it?" "If I'd introduced myself that first night as Samantha Bailey, billionaire heiress, would you have let me anywhere near you or Lily?" He didn't answer, which was answer enough. "I'm not sorry for helping," Sam continued. "I'm sorry for lying, for taking away your choice, for making you feel like a charity case. But I'm not sorry for caring about you both. I don't know how to do this." His admission came quiet, broken. "I don't know how to be with someone who could solve all my problems without blinking, who lives in a world I'll never belong to. I don't want that world. Why do you think I'm here?" "Because you can afford to play at being normal. Because this is where I belong. These people, this work, you and Lily, this is what matters to me." He turned to look at her then, really look at her. She saw him struggling, wanting to believe but afraid to trust again. "I need time," he said. "I'll wait. I might never be okay with this. I'll still wait." The car's heater rattled, fighting against the November cold. Ethan sat with the engine running, watching his breath fog the windshield. 5 days since Sam's confession. 5 days of replaying every conversation, every small kindness, wondering what was real and what was pity. His phone buzzed, another text from work asking when he'd return. He couldn't afford more unpaid days, but leaving Lily felt impossible with her counts still unstable. "Pride's a luxury you can't afford," his wife used to say when he'd refuse help from her parents. But she'd been wrong. Pride was all he had left some days. The knowledge that he'd earned what little they had, that nobody could take it away or hold it over him, except now someone had given him everything, and he hadn't even known. Through the hospital's glass doors, he watched Sam emerge from her shift. She looked exhausted, her usual grace replaced by something fragile. She'd been pulling doubles all week. He'd overheard the other nurses talking, punishing herself, maybe, or avoiding home. She paused at her car, phone pressed to her ear. Even from here, he could see the tension in her shoulders, the way she gripped the phone like a lifeline. Or a weapon. His phone rang. The mechanic shop. "Donovan, where the hell are you? I got 3 cars backing up." "Family emergency." "I told you." "Yeah, well, emergency or not, I need you here tomorrow or I need to find someone else." The line went dead, another job hanging by a thread. Another bill he couldn't pay without it. Sam was still on her phone, pacing now. He could see her free hand gesturing, sharp and angry. Nothing like the gentle nurse who'd held Lily's hand through procedures, who'd brought him coffee without being asked, who'd saved his daughter's life without telling him. The humiliation burned fresh. Every thank you he'd offered for small kindnesses, while she'd secretly paid for everything. Every time he'd counted quarters for the vending machine while she had billions. But underneath the shame, something else. She'd stayed. Through long shifts and difficult nights, she'd been there. Not her money, her. Holding Lily's hair during chemo, sitting with him in silence when words felt impossible. Her car door slammed. She sat behind the wheel but didn't drive away. Through 2 windshields and winter air, their eyes met. His phone buzzed. A message from the hospital billing department. "Outstanding balance, 0. Thank you for your payment." Inside the hospital, machines kept Lily alive. Outside, pride kept him frozen. Sam's phone rang again. She stared at it. Then, with sudden violence, threw it onto the passenger seat. Her head dropped to the steering wheel. Before he could think better of it, Ethan was out of his car, crossing the frozen asphalt. He knocked on her window. She looked up, mascara smudged, eyes red. "Bad news?" "My father, he's—" She stopped, shook her head. "It doesn't matter." "It does." She rolled down the window. Cold air rushed between them. "He's threatening to come here, to make a scene, to embarrass me into coming home. What did you tell him?" "Nothing yet." She laughed, bitter and tired. 28 years of telling him nothing. You'd think I'd be better at it. What do you want to tell him?" She looked at him then. Really looked. "That I'm done. That I choose this, the hospital, the work. That I don't want his money or his name or his expectations. That I found something real here, something that matters, and I'm not giving it up for all the board meetings in the world." Then tell him, it's not that simple. The trust fund, the connections, the— "Sam," he interrupted her spiral. "Do you need any of it?" "No." "Do you want any of it?" "No." "Then it is that simple." She stared at him. "You make it sound easy." "I didn't say easy. Just simple." Her phone rang again. This time, she grabbed it, her finger hovering over the answer button. "Put it on speaker," Ethan said. "What?" "You shouldn't do this alone." Her eyes widened, but she hit the speaker button. "Samantha." Her father's voice filled the car, cold and commanding. "This ends now. You'll be at the board meeting Tuesday, or I'll— No." The word hung in the air. Ethan saw her hands shake. "Excuse me?" "No, father. I won't be at the board meeting. Or any meeting. I'm done. You're being ridiculous. This nurse fantasy, it's not a fantasy. It's my life. My choice. I'll cut you off." every penny. Good. You'll have nothing. Sam looked at Ethan. He nodded, just once. I'll have everything that matters. She said, You're making a mistake. That man, whoever he is. Goodbye, Father. She hung up. The silence felt enormous. That was terrifying, she whispered. But you did it. I did it. Wonder crept into her voice. I actually did it. Her phone immediately started ringing again. Without hesitation, she powered it off. He'll come here, she said. Let him. He'll make trouble. Sam. Ethan caught her hand through the window. You just gave up billions for this life. You think I'm letting you face him alone? 3 days passed before they met again. The late February wind cut through the hospital parking lot, carrying the promise of snow. Sam emerged from the employee exit at 2 a.m, exhausted from a double shift. She stopped when she saw Ethan leaning against his car, hands buried in his pockets. Lily? Alarm sharpened her voice. Sleeping. The night nurse is with her. He pushed off from the car. I needed to talk to you. They stood 10 feet apart, the space between them charged with everything unsaid. Sam pulled her coat tighter, waiting. I've been thinking about everything you said. His voice came out rough, like words dragged over gravel. And about everything that's happened. I've been angry, confused, but mostly I've been afraid. She took a step closer but stopped when he held up a hand. Let me finish, please. He looked at the ground, then back at her face. Afraid of what it means to accept help. Afraid of what it means to be with someone like you. Someone who has everything I don't. Ethan. My whole life, I've measured myself by what I could provide. First for Sarah, then for Lily. When Sarah died, I promised myself I'd be enough. Just me. No charity, no handouts, no pity. The wind picked up, scattering old leaves across the asphalt. Sam stayed quiet, her heart breaking for the man who carried the world on his shoulders. Then you came along. A bitter laugh escaped him. This beautiful, kind woman who brought my daughter light in her darkest moments, who sat with me through the worst nights of my life, and the whole time you could have bought this hospital. Could have fixed everything with a phone call. That's not, I know. He met her eyes. That's what I've been trying to understand. You didn't come into our lives as some billionaire playing nurse. You came as Sam. Just Sam, who works double shifts and brings terrible cafeteria coffee and holds my daughter's hand when she's scared. Sam's composure cracked. Ethan, I didn't come into your life to fix you or to play some kind of hero. The words tumbled out, urgent and raw. I came because I saw you. I saw your strength, your love for Lily. I saw you fighting every day for her and for yourself. She moved closer, close enough that he could see tears gathering in her eyes. Every day, I watched you choose love over exhaustion, hope over despair. You slept in that car for weeks, worked yourself to the bone, never once complaining. You think I helped you because I have money? She shook her head. I helped because you reminded me why I became a nurse, why I walked away from my father's world. You reminded me that love means showing up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. The parking lot light flickered above them, casting shifting shadows. I want to be part of that, she continued, voice dropping to a whisper. Not because I have money, but because I care. Because watching you with Lily, seeing the way you love her, it made me want to be better, to be real, to be worthy of that kind of love. Ethan stood frozen, her words washing over him like warm rain after a drought. The silence stretched until he thought it might snap. I've been scared of letting someone in. The admission cost him. She could see it in the way his shoulders tensed, the way his hands clenched in his pockets. My wife Sarah, she was my whole world. When she died, I shut down. Shut everyone out. Told myself it was about protecting Lily, but really. He stepped closer, close enough that she could see the exhaustion etched into every line of his face. Really, I was protecting myself. From feeling that kind of loss again. From needing someone that much again. His hand emerged from his pocket, reaching toward her, then pulling back. But maybe I've been pushing you away because I don't know how to trust again. I've spent so long just fighting to survive, and I forgot what it feels like to really live. The confession hung between them like a bridge waiting to be crossed. Sarah wouldn't want this for me, this half-life. She'd probably laugh at me, actually. Tell me I was being an idiot for pushing away someone who makes Lily smile, someone who makes me remember there's more to life than just getting through each day. Finally, he reached for her hand. His fingers were cold, calloused from work, gentle, despite their strength. I'm not good at this, at accepting help, at letting people in, at believing I deserve something good. Sam squeezed his hand, tears spilling over. You don't have to be good at it, you just have to try. What if I mess it up? What if, then we figure it out, together? The word landed between them like a promise. Together. Not billionaire and struggling father, not nurse and patient's family, just two people who'd found each other in the darkness. Your father doesn't matter. Your money doesn't define me. Lily already loves you. Asks about you every day. The morning shift started differently now. Sam arrived at the hospital without the weight that had pressed on her shoulders for years. 3 weeks had passed since she'd sent the letter to her father, formally declining her position in the family business. His response, a curt message through lawyers, hadn't surprised her. What surprised her was how little it hurt. Morning, Bailey. Dr. Martinez glanced up from her charts. Heard you turned down quite the inheritance. Word traveled fast in hospitals. Sam had expected whispers, sideways glances, maybe even resentment. Instead, she found respect in her colleagues' eyes. Best decision I ever made. She meant it. Every word. Room 312 had become her first stop each morning, though she told herself it was purely professional. Lily's improvement warranted close monitoring, after all. The fact that Ethan was usually there, hair mussed from sleeping in the chair, coffee cup balanced precariously on the armrest, was purely coincidental. Sam! Lily's voice rang out before she'd even crossed the threshold. The little girl sat up in bed, color returned to her cheeks, eyes bright with an energy that had been absent months ago. Hey, sunshine. Sam checked the monitors, noted the steady improvements. How are you feeling today? Good. Dad said we might go to the park later if my counts are good. Ethan stirred in his chair, blinking away sleep. Their eyes met across the room, and something warm passed between them. No more secrets, no more walls, just the slow, careful rebuilding of trust. Your counts are looking great, Sam updated Lily's chart. I think the park sounds perfect. Later, during her break, she found Ethan in the cafeteria, staring at paperwork spread across the table. Financial statements, she recognized. But different from before. These showed payments made, balances cleared, a future that looked manageable. Mind if I sit? He looked up, and the smile that crossed his face made her chest tighten. Please. She settled across from him, noting how the stress lines around his eyes had softened. He still looked tired. He probably always would, she thought. That was just who he was, but the crushing weight had lifted. The treatment's working. Not a question. She could see it in every document, every number that no longer spelled disaster, better than working. She's actually getting better. Really better. Dr. Martinez thinks. He stopped, as if afraid to voice hope out loud. She thinks Lily might be in remission soon. Sam reached across the table, covered his hand with hers. That's amazing. I couldn't have done this without you. You would have found a way. You always do. No. His fingers turned, interlacing with hers. I mean it. Not just the money, though God knows that saved us, but you. Being there, making Lily laugh when she felt sick, making me remember there's life beyond hospital walls. The cafeteria buzzed around them, but they might as well have been alone. I've been thinking, he continued, about what comes next, when Lily's better, when we can finally leave this place. Sam's heart stuttered. Of course they'd leave. Why would they stay? Ethan could return to his life, find work that didn't break his back, raise Lily somewhere with windows that opened to more than parking lots. I want to stay close. The words rushed out of him. To the hospital, I mean. To you. If you want that too. Relief flooded through her. I want that. More than you know. Claire, the older nurse who'd become Sam's confidant, stopped by their table. Sorry to interrupt. Sam, Mr. Peterson in 308 is asking for you. Duty called, but Sam hesitated, not wanting to break this moment. Go. Ethan squeezed her hand. We'll be here. We. Such a simple word that meant everything. The weeks that followed fell into a rhythm. Sam worked her shifts, no longer hiding behind her duties but embracing them fully. She'd help other families navigate the system, using knowledge gained not from wealth, but from watching Ethan fight for every small victory. Her supervisor had even mentioned a promotion-charged nurse, more responsibility, more opportunity to make real change. You sure you don't miss it? Ethan asked one evening. They sat in the hospital garden, a small patch of green that someone had carved out between buildings. Lily played on the single swing set, her laughter carrying on the wind. The money? The ease? Sam watched Lily pump her legs, reaching higher with each swing. The girl who'd barely been able to sit up now flew through the air, fearless. I miss nothing. She meant it. That life, it was like wearing clothes that never fit. Everything looked right from the outside, but I couldn't breathe. And now I can breathe. Ethan shifted closer on the bench, their shoulders touching. Lily asked me something yesterday. What? If you were going to be around for a while. Sam's breath caught. What did you tell her? That I hoped so. That some people come into your life when you need them most. And if you're lucky, really lucky, they stay. The setting sun painted the garden gold. Lily called out for them to watch her jump from the swing, and they both looked up, ready to catch her if she fell, ready to cheer when she landed safely. This was wealth, Sam thought. This moment, these people, this choice to show up every day for something that mattered. The evening air carried the first hints of autumn, crisp and clean after the stifling heat of summer. Ethan watched Lily soar back and forth on the swing, her hair streaming behind her like a banner. 6 months ago, she couldn't have managed 5 minutes of play. Now she competed with herself, seeing how high she could go before gravity pulled her back. Sam sat beside him on the weathered bench, close enough that he felt her warmth through his jacket. They'd fallen into this routine Thursday evenings at the park after her shift, giving Lily time to just be a kid instead of a patient. The setting sun painted everything golden. Other families dotted the playground, their voices mixing with the creak of swings and children's laughter. Normal sounds. Beautiful sounds he'd almost forgotten existed. Look, Daddy, look how high. I see you, sweetheart. Lily's joy pierced something deep in his chest. How many times had he feared he'd never hear that carefree tone in her voice again? Too many to count. He turned to Sam, words building in his throat that he'd been holding back for weeks. She watched Lily with such tenderness, such genuine love, that it made his eyes burn. Thank you. Sam glanced at him, eyebrows lifting slightly. For everything. The words came thick, heavy with emotion he couldn't quite contain. For being here when I didn't deserve it, for helping me when I thought I couldn't go on, for just being you. Her eyes shimmered, catching the dying light. She didn't speak. Instead, she leaned in, her hand finding his cheek, and kissed him. Soft, gentle, like a promise. Like coming home after being lost for so long. When she pulled back, they stayed close, foreheads nearly touching. His heart hammered against his ribs, but not from fear or worry. This was something else entirely. Hope? Maybe. Or whatever came after hope, when it started becoming real. They settled back against the bench, his arm around her shoulders, her head fitting perfectly in the crook of his neck. The sun dipped lower, painting the clouds pink and orange. Other parents began calling their children, gathering toys and heading for cars, but Lily showed no signs of slowing. 5 more minutes? She called out, already knowing the answer. 5 more, Ethan agreed. Sam's hand found his, fingers interlacing. She's going to be okay. Not a question anymore. Statement of fact. Dr. Martinez had used the word remission twice this week, not quite ready to make it official, but close. So close he could taste it. We all are. Strange to think how broken he'd been just months ago, sleeping in his car, counting pennies for gas, watching his daughter fade while he stood helpless. Pride had been all he'd had left, and even that had been killing him slowly. Now he understood that accepting help wasn't weakness, that letting someone in didn't mean losing himself. Sam had taught him that, not through words, but through showing up, day after day, even when he'd pushed her away. My father called again yesterday. Sam's voice stayed steady, but he felt the slight tension in her shoulders. What did he want? The usual. One last chance to come back, take my place, stop this nonsense. She laughed, but not bitterly. I told him I'd found my place, that I was exactly where I belonged. Ethan pressed a kiss to the top of her head. Any regrets? Only that it took me so long to figure it out. A couple walked past, pushing a stroller, and nodded in greeting. Just another family enjoying the evening. Nothing remarkable about them. Nothing that would make anyone look twice. Perfect. I've been thinking, Sam continued, about what you said, about staying close to the hospital. His chest tightened. Had she changed her mind? There's a foundation that works with families like yours, like ours. They help with medical bills, temporary housing, all the things insurance doesn't cover. They're looking for someone to run their family advocacy program. That sounds perfect for you. The pay's not much. Nothing like... Sam. He turned so he could see her face. You don't have to explain. Not to me. She smiled, that real smile that started in her eyes and transformed her whole face. I already applied. The interview's next week. You'll get it. Such confidence. I know you. When you decide to do something, you don't fail. Lily ran over, cheeks flushed with exertion and happiness. Can Sam push me on the swing? If she wants to. Sam stood immediately. I'd love to. Ethan watched them walk, hand in hand to the swings, Lily chattering about something from school, Sam listening with complete attention. The sky deepened to purple, first stars beginning to appear. This was wealth. This was success. Not the money Sam had arranged to save them, though he'd be forever grateful for that. But this sitting on a park bench, watching the two people he loved most in the world laugh together, knowing tomorrow would bring more of the same. He'd spent so long in survival mode, he'd forgotten what living felt like. Now he remembered. The sand stuck between Lily's toes as she shrieked with delight, running from the waves that chased her up the beach. 6 months since her last treatment. 6 months of clear scans, growing hair, and a laugh that came easier each day. Daddy, look! She held up a shell, perfect spiral intact. For our collection. Their apartment had 3 jars now, shells, sea glass, and interesting rocks. Small treasures that cost nothing but meant everything. Sam waded in ankle-deep, her sundress hiked up, searching for more shells. The ring on her finger caught the sunlight, simple band, no diamond. She'd insisted. The courthouse wedding had been just the 3 of them plus Claire as witness, perfect in its simplicity. Found one. Sam called out, holding up a sand dollar. Lily splashed over to examine it, her movements sure and strong. No more careful steps, no more stopping to catch her breath. Dr. Martinez had used the word miracle, but Ethan knew better. Not miracle medicine, determination, and help that arrived when they'd needed it most. His phone buzzed. Work email, probably. The new job at the community center didn't pay much, but the hours let him be there for school pickup, homework, bedtime stories. Sam's foundation work brought in enough to cover the rest. They'd never be rich, but they had enough. More than enough. "No phones at the beach," Sam called out, grinning. He tucked it away, guilty but not really. Old habits. Still sometimes couldn't believe he didn't need to check for extra shifts, calculate overtime, panic about tomorrow's bills. The Foundation for Family Care had launched 3 months ago. 20 families helped so far, medical bills covered, temporary housing arranged, gas cards for hospital trips. Sam worked 60-hour weeks, but different from before. This exhaustion came with purpose, with knowing that somewhere a parent wasn't sleeping in their car tonight. Her family had come to the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Her father, stiff in his expensive suit, had stood in the back, but he'd stayed for the whole speech, even clapped at the end. Her mother had pulled Sam aside after, whispered something that made Sam cry. Good tears, though, the kind that meant healing. "Sandcastle?" Lily asked, already knowing the answer. They'd gotten good at this, Ethan digging the moat, Sam crafting towers, Lily decorating with shells and seaweed. Today's creation grew ambitious, multiple levels, a bridge made from driftwood. It needs a flag, Lily decided. Sam produced a napkin from the beach bag, helped Lily tie it to a small stick. It fluttered in the ocean breeze, humble but proud. Other families played nearby. Some probably had stories like, "There's illness, struggle, getting by." Others had never known that particular fear. Didn't matter. Today they were all just families at the beach. "Remember the first time we came here?" Sam asked. 2 months after her revelation, when things were still fragile between them, Lily had been too weak to play much, but she'd wanted to see the ocean. They'd sat on a blanket, watching the waves, careful not to push too hard, too fast. "You were so worried about the sun," Ethan recalled. "Had 3 kinds of sunscreen. Still do." She pulled out a bottle, started reapplying to Lily's shoulders. "Mom," Lily said, then froze. The word hung in the salt air. First time she'd used it. Sam's hand stilled on Lily's shoulder. Is that okay?" Lily asked, suddenly uncertain. Sam pulled her close, kissed the top of her head. "More than okay, baby. So much more than okay." Ethan's throat closed up. He turned toward the ocean, let the wind dry his eyes. Some moments were too big for words. Later, they walked along the water's edge, Lily between them, holding both their hands. She swung forward every few steps, trusting them to catch her weight, pull her up. Such simple trust, such easy joy. "Ice cream?" Lily asked, spotting the truck in the parking lot. "Of course," Sam said before Ethan could count the cash in his pocket. Old reflex. Getting better about it. They sat on a bench, Lily working through a chocolate cone with serious concentration. Ethan had vanilla, Sam, strawberry, nothing fancy, everything perfect. "The Hendersons got approved yesterday," Sam mentioned. "Their daughter starts treatment next week." "That's great." They were living in their minivan. Sound familiar? Too familiar, but that family wouldn't face it alone. They'd have help, support, someone who understood exactly what they were going through. "You're making a difference," he said. "We're making a difference." True. He'd started volunteering, talking to fathers who couldn't see past their pride to accept help. Sometimes they listened, sometimes they didn't. But he kept showing up, kept sharing his story. The sun dropped lower, painting everything gold. Time to head home soon, but not yet. Not quite yet. Lily finished her cone, sticky fingers and satisfied smile. She ran ahead, chasing seagulls that stayed just out of reach. Energy to burn, beautiful problem to have. "You were right," Ethan said softly, watching their daughter play. "The best things in life really do come when you least expect them." Sam squeezed his hand, leaned into his shoulder. Her heart felt too full for her chest, like it might burst from happiness. This moment, this life, this family they'd built from broken pieces, it was everything she'd never known she wanted. Everything she'd been searching for without realizing it. More than everything, actually, it was home. If you enjoyed the story, I handpicked this next story that you will enjoy. Please don't miss this one. Click here to watch it.